So I also attended Terry Branstad's inauguration, which is pretty interesting. He's our new to you governor. Anyway, I had the media credentials and I decided to go. And I sat there with, the media from Des Moines Register, from the radio, and then there was Blue.Green.Fusion representing the internet. They had an orchestra, which was good, and I did not clap because the other media didn't clap. I sat and thought about America for a while, and but they were great. The orchestra was great, and I've got the program right here. That's the inaugural program. And so Terry Branstad did show his calm confidence, and even in the face of that one tension-filled moment when someone sings the Star Spangled Banner, and you wonder, can they hit the high note? Or maybe it's just me, land of the free. And so I was watching Governor Branstad's face, and I sensed that somehow everything would be all right. He seemed pretty calm about it. And then I felt somehow we'll make it through, and we did. So that's how that went. Branstad did congratulate Linda Upmeyer, who is Iowa's first female House Majority Leader. He also mentioned that he looked forward to swearing in the first female governor of Iowa, whose name he did not mention, but whose name we can guess. And so, to tell the truth, that means all eyes might focus on Senator Charles Grassley and Senator Tom Harkin and Representative Leonard Boswell. Isn't it about time? But anyway, Branstad did say in his speech that job creators should be rewarded. And so I agree. Job creators should be rewarded, and that's something that stood out for me during his speech.
Just for clarification, in your original comments, you said assuming a 4% allowable growth. I assume you meant revenue growth.
I meant 4% revenue growth. We're assuming they're assuming a 3% allowable growth in these assumptions. And I think we may have to take on some of these assumptions and say, can we really afford a 3%? This assumes a 3% allowable growth, but we're also assuming a 4% revenue growth. But even a 4% revenue growth will not sustain a 3% allowable growth, plus the increase in salaries and benefits, plus the increase in Medicaid costs and the other things in the budget. So, we're assuming all the other things in the budget are no increase. So, I mean, they're conservative. In many aspects, we're saying no increase except for these major programs, but it tells us we can't exempt these major programs from sharing in the reductions that are necessary to get us this.
So we're going to switch away from the announcements and events and things like that to the headlines. We've got several. This is one from December 31st, and had not had time to work it into the show, but let's see if I can aim it correctly. Okay, there we go. Follow Joe Galloway as rivers, greenways develop. And it's nice. This is about the people to watch in 2011. This is about the Parks and Recreation Department. Now Galloway helps lead Central Iowa Greenways, a regional task force shaping a bold plan to improve conservation, recreation, and water quality up and down. Let's follow that through to the other side. Up and down the Des Moines and Raccoon Rivers. Greenways are open, protected areas that are managed for conservation and public recreation. They can link parks, nature preserves, and cultural and historical sites that often trace woodlands, prairies, or waterways. According to him, there's limitless potential, and we've barely scratched the surface, said Galloway, chairman of the Des Moines Park and Recreation Board. All right, so he helps steer a roughly 60-member task force studying to boost potential for boating, fishing, camping, and birdwatching along the Des Moines and Raccoon River Greenways. Recreation trails for walkers, joggers, and bicyclists could be built along the riverbanks. And so Brian Clark also weighed in. True cooperation on regional projects is often difficult to accomplish. This is actually according to Tripp. All right. But Clark and Galloway have been able to keep officials from about a dozen government jurisdictions and another 14 public and private agencies involved in the Greenways project. Galloway points out that in the absence of oceans and mountains, quality development of greenways could provide a unique tourist attraction for the central part of the state. And so that's from December 31st. We didn't have time to raise it on the show before now, but I definitely wanted to acknowledge that forward-thinking vision, imagination, and creativity to see the possibilities of what Iowa can become. I think it's important to really, really have a process to see what maybe not everyone else can see and to imagine the unimaginable. And so I think he's doing that, and it's just wonderful for Iowa.
You are locking into the allowable growth number.
We're not, no.
So we've got another article about another individual doing interesting things in Des Moines. This comes from Des Moines Juice. Let's see. Sustainability Coordinator for Pioneer. Okay, and so this is Derek Nelson. He's 27 according to the article, and he explains what he does. I look at ways to make the Pioneer hybrid international business operations more environmentally friendly, getting Pioneer involved with a wide array of projects like recycling programs, implementing alternative renewable energy into our sites, or looking at various ways to make our facilities more sustainable. And he says the one thing that he would change about the Des Moines area, a quote, I would try to reduce the amount of urban sprawl, do something similar to what Portland did, and make boundary lines that expansion cannot occur beyond. Des Moines is growing so rapidly outward, and I would hate to see more farmland get developed. The agricultural community is what drives the economy in our state. I want to continue to see the industry flourish, while simultaneously enrich the inner parts of the city by giving those areas the attention they deserve through renovations and efficiencies. Ultimately, a bold move like that would increase property values long term. And so that's his take on the Des Moines area, and I thought it pretty interesting that his take on sprawl, and then also my mentioning of a few vacant buildings here in the downtown area that have created hazards for the buildings that are occupied since they're all connected by skywalks. And then the fact that we have areas of the central part of Des Moines that have kind of gone ignored or had their services like retail, library, schools, organizations constricted in favor of other parts of the city. So there has to be a balance, I think. There should be, and hopefully there will be.